Welcome, my dear students of class 9A and 9B, to my history class. Today's lesson, Industrial Revolution. Points as I mentioned: growth of population, urbanization, rise of new social class, socialism, workers' exploitation. First point, growth of population. Growth of population. First point is growth of population. My dear students, one of the most important factors, or one of the most important after effects of the Industrial Revolution was huge increase in urban population. This increase in population growth was added to greater supply of food made available by the agricultural revolution. In addition, orphanages, hospitals, and improved medical advancements, marked decline in death rate, which resulted in a steady growth of population after AD 1740. Perhaps the most considerable effect of the Industrial Revolution was survival of more children of the middle class, lower middle class, and middle class parents. Next point, urbanization. Urbanization was one of the direct outcomes of the Industrial Revolution. With the invention of machinery and the advent of technology, factories could be built anywhere in cities and towns. Thus, people of the rural areas migrated to urban areas looking for job, work, education. As a result of it, cities became centers of civilization and culture, attracting many people living nearby the rural areas for better standard livings. Why? Because people started leaving their villages for better jobs, for social benefits. And next point, the rise of new social class. Industrial Revolution gave a rise of a new class, a section of people having huge wealth and money invested their money for making it double during that era. They were known as capitalists. So it also gave a rise of wide gap between the employees and employers. The employers decided to make money, and at the same time the employees were being humiliated at their hands. This humiliation, this gap between the employees and employers gave a birth of a new class, new section that was not good for the people living below poverty line. because other section of people created by the revolution was the class of poor workers. Basically, they were poor workers. These poor workers are known as proletariat. And this class included those people who migrated to cities in search of employment and lived in inhuman living conditions. And this gap between the employees and employers became very, very wide during that period. And next point, socialism. The humiliation, exploitation of the lower class workers of factories and industries, gave a rise of a new concept, socialism. Because the people living below poverty line, they were deprived of their rights. They lived under harsh and inhuman condition. The living quarters, the quarters which were provided for the factory workers, its condition was very, 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 very unhygienic. There was no system of proper ventilation, no sunlight, there was no system of passing sunlight here. That's why this poor condition of the people resulted in a new class, new concept. The name of that very concept is socialism. And this socialism, awakened a new class, awakened the concept of the employers, employees. And employers, as per the system of the socialism, as per the concept of the socialism, the employers should be the only owners of the means of production, so that the wealth produced can be shared more fairly. Several socialists stood up for the cause. Several socialists stood up to improve these evils. Such, I don't want to mention their names, who contributed a lot, but two names I must have to inform: Engels and Karl Marx. The workers of the world, who are called, the workers of the world who are called, proletariats, they were guided by two great personalities of the world. Who were they? Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Their socialistic and revolutionary thinkings and thoughts encourage a large section of poor people. As a result, workers living below poverty line and class division and exploitation among them gave a rise to this concept, socialism. Socialism had become a great factor for them because it maintained a balance between the employees and employers. This wide gap between the employees and employers gave a rise of this concept, socialism, and as a result, the production, the socialism, the theory of socialism not only protected the interest of the lower middle class people or workers of factories and industries, but also they gave some guidelines to the employers, so that employers, the amount of money, whatever they earn earlier, although the system of earning money at the cost of poor people was reduced, but by maintaining a balance between these two groups, the employers also were not deprived of their share. and the share, the amount of the productive goods which were produced by the workers, it was decided that would be shared. That workers and the employers should be the only owners of the means of production, so that the wealth produced can be shared fairly, And this is the concept of socialism. And next point, workers' exploitation. The workers, they were forced to live under very unhygienic condition. Living condition was very poor. No health facilities were there. They were not provided with any medical facilities, any medicines, and whenever any communicative diseases suddenly stopped their living, stopped their life. And the reason they would have to leave this world forever, that untimely death or death rates increased from time to time. But the mill owners had no sympathy for them. Only for that reason, the theory and concept of socialism, two eminent social, reformers, political thinkers, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, protected the interest of the common people, interest of the factory workers, employees. And this concept, socialism, developed as a reaction to the vices of capitalism. The society came to be divided into two different classes, namely the proletariat and that capitalist, as I mentioned earlier. Who were proletariat? The poor workers who were deprived of their rights, the poor workers who were humiliated at the hands of capitalists.